Grace Bullaro holds a PhD in comparative literature from CUNY at the City Center. She is a member of the English department at Lehman College, and most of her scholarly work has been published in several journals of literature. Last year, Professor Bullaro published 2 books on Italian film. One is Beyond Life is Beautiful, the cinema of Robert Benigno, and the other one, Man in Disorder, the cinema of Lina Wertmuller. Today we will try to have 2 interviews, the first one on Wertmuller and the other one on Benigno. I would like to welcome you, and thanks.
Thanks for having me.
I guess the audience ought to know that we actually met a long time ago at the City College.
Long time ago.
Yeah. And then we met again, finally, and I'm so happy that you're here today.
And now we keep running into each other when we least expect it.
Yeah. Tell me, what do you teach at Lehman College?
Well, I teach a whole variety of courses. Some, most of them are interdisciplinary, because that is the way of the future. So each course would have, would be about cinema or about literature, incorporating philosophy, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you teach Italian also, or you don't?
No, I'm in the English department, but teaching comparative literature and, as I said, a variety.
Since we're going to talk about 2 filmmakers, is it by coincidence that you present these 2 movie directors, or is it by some design that you want to show? In other words, they seem to be similar. They have a great success in Italian film, and American are well known.
Right.
And yet lately they have disappeared. We don't know what they are doing. So I was wondering if there is a reason why you present these 2 and not, let's say, another Italian director.
Well, I think you've hinted at it in part, because it's because these are Italian directors who have also had major success in the United States. So that's one reason. As far as the second part of your question, and that is, where are they now? Well, Benigno, I was interested in Lina Wertmuller, and I've been publishing about her since about 1993. And Benigno came much later.
I see. Now, it is very easy for the audience to associate a film with an actor, but a film with the director sometimes is a little confusing or not necessarily well known. So since we will be talking about Lina Wertmuller, maybe you could tell us who she is. And I think you had an interview. Maybe we can show the film of the interview you did, maybe a couple of minutes, so that the audience may see who Lina Wertmuller is.
Wertmuller. In Italy they say Wertmuller, and here we just say Wertmuller. But she's as Italian as they come.
Vorrei chiedere come ci si sente a parlare dei suoi successi cosiddetti americani. I 4 film in questione hanno 30 anni e le hanno procurato un grande successo e una grande reputazione in America. Lei pensa che ancora la rappresentino in qualche modo?
Sì, penso senz'altro che mi rappresentino. Io ho fatto ormai più di 30 film e certamente non tutti sono andati in America, però grazie a Dio parecchi hanno girato il mondo e hanno dimostrato di avere gambe lunghe. Non c'è niente che faccia più piacere ad un autore che arrivare.
How long ago did you have this interview with Lina?
This was last January of last year, so it's very recent.
Of course, she still has that white eyeglasses, right?
Oh my God! She said this is one of her trademarks. She said that people knew her by her white glasses, but she was kidding then. She said. But she wasn't really kidding.
Why did you have the interview with her?
I thought that it was a good compliment to the book. It's included in the book. And I really wanted to see how consistent she was. She gave so many interviews at the height of her celebrity, and her ideas were really so extreme in some respects, and they caused so much controversy. I was very interested in seeing what she believed today and how she had maintained those.
Can you tell us a little about who she is? You know, a little biography of.
Oh, sure.
Very briefly.
She was born in 1928 in Rome.
In Rome.
Her grandfather was Swiss, and this thus
so
the
she
German
doesn't
name.
Have a German name.
The German name.
But she's Swiss, not German.
Swiss, right. There is no German there. It was Swiss. She started out as Fellini's. Well, she started out in local theater.
I said Swiss and not German because people could confuse her with another a German
and
artist.
Frequently happens that she's confused with Leni Riefenstahl. But
who was
totally
she? She was she made the documentaries?
Well, more like propaganda. Leni Riefenstahl was notorious for being well, she was Hitler's. She made propaganda movies.
So Lina Wertmuller is an Italian lady.
Italian.
Okay, so she's from Swiss descendants.
Right.
And you were saying
that she started out in local theater in Rome, and then she became Fellini's assistant. And in 1963, she borrowed a crew from Fellini, and she made her first independent movie, and that was I Basilischi, translated as The Lizards, which was, in some respects, an echo of I Vitelloni. And she won many, many awards. I believe it was 14 awards.
She just said in that interview that she made over 30 movies.
Right.
But she's involved in film and TV, theater,
everything.
opera. She's got everything. So she's still very active today in Italy, even though we don't hear much. It's a dynamo.
A dynamo, and she's beloved in Italy. She's everywhere on TV.
In your book, which probably I would like to show it right now, it's Man in Disorder, the cinema of Lina Wertmuller.
In the 70s.
In the 70s. So this book deals about all the 30 movies?
No, that would have been impossible. I have chosen the 4 big American hits.
Oh, the 4. And which are they?
That would be The Seduction of Mimi, Love and Anarchy, Swept Away, and Seven Beauties. And that had a tremendous success in the U.S. in the early to mid-1970s. She became an international celebrity.
She also has another movies, which I think, another film, which I think was also very popular in the U.S., and it's Ciao Professore.
Right, but that wasn't until 1992.
I see,
so
much
those
later.
4 really, together, they form, they have cohesion. Together, they develop themes that fit very well, almost under an umbrella, and the umbrella would be that.
To help our audience remember these movies, we would like to present some very brief excerpts so that we can remind them. Maybe our director can put those excerpts on now. Basically, what is The Seduction of Mimi, the story?
The story is about Mimi, who is a Sicilian, a young man in a village, well, not a village, he's in Catania in Sicily. He refuses to vote for the mafia candidate. Then he has to go up north looking for a job, but also escaping. He goes up north. He is indoctrinated into communism.
We see the movie now.
Okay.
Quando mi dice mi ami, dimmi proprio così, ti amo.
No.
Non mi vuoi essere più?
No. Io non ti amo.
Ma tu che stai dicendo? Tu stai pazziando. Ora che ti ha già ceduto. No, tu scherzi.
Non scherzo. Ma ora che siamo intimi, il momento della verità è arrivato. Io ti ho ingannato, Amalia.
No, non è vero. È perché sta commedia?
Tuo marito ha messo incinta mia moglie, Rosalia. E io mi devo vendicare.
Continue with this film, and now it comes up Swept Away.
Che meraviglia, no? Guarda, un paradiso! E pensare che questo paradiso lo riempiranno di merda, rifiuti e buste di plastica, già perché siccome bisogna far finta di fare la civiltà di massa, via al massacro! Ma sai le risate quando saremo 100 milioni, non dico altro che mare, vero? Sarà diventata una fogna dappertutto. Ah, bella prospettiva, ma sai che gioia? Un formicaio di cemento pieno di morti di fame, altro che giardino d'Europa.
Vabbè, Raffaele, però godiamoci, lo vedi quanto è bello? È paradiso, scusa. Ma te va nel momento di smilagliarci le palle con l'ecologia?
No, per carità, ma che ci frega, volevo se bene. Eccole qua, queste belle teste di proclamatori. No, guarda, ho ragione io quando dico che per salvare quel pochissimo, vero, che resta dell'Italia, bisognerebbe prendere tutti gli italiani e chiuderli in una riserva da un'altra parte. Bene, però dell'aborto non ne parlate. Ma vedi quanto segno?
Okay, we saw these two films. Basically, we saw the first one, which is a Sicilian fellow, you were saying, and his wife gets seduced by somebody.
Il carabiniere,
So,
right.
and this fellow, instead of taking revenge against the man, he goes against the wife, seduces her.
An innocent victim.
Seduces her, and then
Right.
has. Of course, this has implication the presentation of the Italian Southern individual, which this Lina Wertmuller presents all the time.
Right.
Maybe we'll talk about a little the Southern. What does she have against because it seems to me it's more stereotypical than anything else.
Right. She has been seriously criticized for for fostering and for reproducing negative stereotypes about Southern Italians.
But the film is very popular. I mean, it isn't that people laugh and is enjoying it. In fact, she doesn't say, I just want to entertain people. That's my, I'm not a philosopher.
Right, sure, that's what she says. She doesn't want to entertain only. She's not a philosopher, but she does see her primary job as a director and artist as one who needs to point out the problems of society.
And, of course, we noticed at the very beginning, people in the car, the mafia image is already there also. Of course, that's not a myth, but we know that the reality has become more so. And then in Swept Away, it talks about industrialist capitalism against communism, this kind of conflict. Is politics really the essential part of her philosophy, or thinking about as a movie producer? Or
No, I think that although I mean, she likes to air social problems. As you saw in Swept Away, she was talking about the ecology, about overpopulation, very topical topics that are very important today. She also, in Love and Anarchy and in Seven Beauties,
we
talks
don't
about
have
philosophy.
Love and Anarchy,
That's
so
right.
we are not going to show
That's
any
all right.
clips.
But in Love and Anarchy, the principal question that I think she's asking is, what is a man? where does his moral responsibility start and end? What are the boundaries of his moral obligations? So it isn't only the social problems, or she is interested in finding out what an individual, what is his or her place is in society, what his or her obligations are. It's much more than just the stereotypes.
In effect, her main character is something that she basically hates. In fact,
you mean the male?
Yeah, the male character.
No, she's been criticized for loving him, especially Giannini. She was.
No, not the actor. I mean the main character, who, let's say, the Southern Italian man,
yes,
who is involved in self-preservation, self-aggrandizement, but not a societal man.
She says that she mocks him.
So is this the role that she would like to see in a man? The fact that
it's the role she criticizes.
to the he criticizes.
She criticizes it by exaggerating it, by turning it into a caricature. She's hoping that people will notice that this is a ridiculous way to act. She told me in the interview that the famous scene that in The Seduction of Mimi that we just saw, that up until that point you identify with Mimi and the events of his life. You can almost understand the decisions that he has made and the choices he has made. But at that moment, when you realize that he is just a brute who has victimized an innocent woman for a ridiculous thing such as honor,
even a coward action, because he should have gone to the man and say, what have you done? And,
so at that point, she says, that is when the viewer is supposed to understand that you're not supposed to sympathize
How does
Mimi.
she present that moment of the change from the audience loving this character, and then all of a sudden it changes, and I think showing a very grotesque kind of behind people just begin to disassociate with the character.
That's what she wants.
Now, with The Swept Away, this is again, it comes society and man on a more individual basis, because these are two individuals, opposite in political spectrum, but I'm not sure, because the main character, the male character, doesn't have any political ideology.
Oh, he should. He does. He certainly does. He is almost a leader of the Communist Party. He's a communist, a convinced communist.
The main actor, I thought he wasn't. He protests because he's a working man.
No, he's a communist.
He participated in Milan and became a member of the, but he got away.
Swept away, right.
All right, we would like to now go down to the Seven Beauties, which is the last great movie that she made, and it's also a controversial movie.
Very.
Maybe we can see the Seven Beauty as soon as the director puts it on. Meanwhile, we can talk. Seven Beauty is obviously deals with.
Well, it deals. Do you want me to tell you now?
Here it is.
Okay.
Here it is.
The clip.